If you're struggling with your own confidence or your own self-doubt, we have to realize there are two different camps. We could look to increase our confidence or lessen our self-doubt. And today we're going to just break the myth on terms of what it is we should be doing and how it is that we should approach it. Because these might be two separate sides of the same equation, or they might be two totally different equations. So make sure to stay to the end where we talk about which one you should be doing. Welcome back to the channel, and my name is Bennett. If you're new, I'm here to share some ideas that have helped me move the needle just a little bit in my own personal life. I hope you find them beneficial. So before we begin, we have to actually understand what is the definition of confidence, what is self-doubt. Everybody has a different terminology in terms of how you get it, how you can lose it, and what is we need to be doing to allow ourselves to build ourselves in terms of our confidence and really just get our self-doubt away from us because we don't want to be having it. So the way that I like to break it up is that when it comes to confidence, it's very different than self-esteem and self-worth. You see, confidence is usually in a specific area of our lives. It could be public speaking, it can be walking over to a stranger, or it could be stepping onto any sports field. And what's interesting is that we have to understand that when it comes to confidence, it doesn't really have a value in terms of who it is that we are. And many times people want to be working on their confidence, but they don't really realize that confidence is the result of doing something over and over and over again. You reaffirm to yourself so many different times in your life that you are good at something, that you put in the time for something, that you're prepared to step into the moment, and therefore you're going to become more confident. Yes, confidence is a feeling, it's an emotion that we feel, but it comes after preparing ourselves so much in order to be able to do the things that we want. On the other hand, when it comes to self-doubt, what really is going on, it's mostly in our minds. It's something that we're telling ourselves. It's the story we're sharing over and over and over again that we can't do something. And that is something we need to work on. So while both of them really have to do with our mindset and what's going on inside our brains, we have to realize that the way we get to these places are two totally different paths. So let's break down what it is we can do in each of these paths to make sure we can start to build our confidence and lessen our own self-doubt. So when it comes to confidence, what we first have to realize that it comes down to really just taking action. You see, at the end of the day, if we want to become more confident in something, we have to be able to put ourselves in a situation that is going to be uncomfortable. And the way that I like to frame it is that it's not about being confident in the moment, it's about being nervous and nevertheless still taking that action. And that could be something that could just shift so much in our lives. Because for somebody who wants to become more confident, they're waiting for the moment for them to feel that feeling, to feel prepared. But they don't realize that by them putting themselves in the situation, that itself is going to help build their own confidence. So by taking the action in spite of the fear, it's only going to help our own confidence. Then you might now say, well, Bennett, let's say it doesn't go well. Let's say I step into the moment and I do mess up. So that's where the frame of really understanding how you have to handle failure. You see, for so many people, they look at failure as something negative. They look at something bad, that's something that they didn't succeed and it's a definition of them. There's another group of people who look at failure as a way that they're going to be growing. It's life giving them feedback in terms of what it is that they are doing in order to take things to the next level. If we could start to make that shift and say, hey, you know what, there's a lot going on over here. I thought I was going to succeed and yet I didn't succeed. Guess what? That's just great feedback to have. So the next time I put myself in this situation, I'm going to become more prepared. I know what I need to be working on. We find so many people nowadays just reading books and watching YouTubes in different areas, and then they feel like they're already could be CEO of a company, that there's so much minutia that goes on, and we really have to understand that we won't know what's happening until we're in it. It's why so many of my friends who went to college said that they learned more on the job than they did in college. Because in college, you're learning more just theory, but when you're putting in the work, you literally work on the details that you need to be knowing and what it is that you can be doing to take it to the next level. When it comes to confidence, we have to make sure we're getting out of our heads and really just focusing on taking the action, because the more action we can take is going to breed more action, and the more action we take after that, that's going to raise our confidence levels. The second idea when it comes to confidence is really understanding that we have to embrace the discomfort. You see, for many people, rightfully so, when they don't feel comfortable doing something, they get scared. They're not able to move forward. And what we have to realize is that that discomfort is actually good for us. That discomfort that we get when we get nervous to put ourselves out there is the thing that is allowing us to grow. You see, when it comes to the gym, for so many people, they understand that the more weight they put on, there's more resistance. And the more resistance they are at the gym, the bigger their muscles are going to grow. But when it comes to our minds, how are we supposed to work out our minds? How are we supposed to put resistance in terms of what it is we can really handle? And when it comes to life, when it comes to different things that we feel uncomfortable with, For so many of us, we shy away. But there are other people out there who really embrace that discomfort, who know that if I go through this thing, it's only going to help me become a better person in that specific area. We have to realize that if we want to become better, we have to embrace the discomfort and do so much more when it comes to what it is that we're looking to do. Stop looking at that discomfort as something negative, as something bad, but it's actually the thing that's going to help you grow. And all it is that your mind is working out. And if we could have that frame, it's going to be so much easier to step in. The third idea when it comes to confidence is that we have to realize that confidence never really ends. You see, I think with most things in life, we wish there was an end point to it. We wish our relationships would get to a certain point and then we're good. We don't have to work on it. Our health can get to a certain point and then you know what? I could eat whatever I want. But if you really want to be working on your confidence, this is something that we have to put in the time. We have to put in the effort and we're going to have to be in it in the long run. For so many people, they're looking for a quick hit and they don't realize that, you know what? If I could just be a little bit more patient, that could change so much when it comes to my own confidence. We have to start playing the infinite game to recognize that if we want to continue to grow, if we want to become somebody better, we're going to have to continuously take the action and constantly step into the discomfort because that's where we're going to grow. It's why imposter syndrome never really ends. It's the idea that we're always going to feel like we don't belong whenever we're leveling up our stage. And guess what? There's always going to be another level. There's always going to be somebody who's going to be better than you or somebody who's right behind you who's looking to take you off the mantle. Recognizing that this is a life's journey and we all have to put in our time and realizing that it's going to be forever, and that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. That means there's so much growth and opportunity that we can be having. Now let's shift over to the self-doubt side. You see, when it comes to self-doubt, there's so much going on inside our minds that we have to realize that it's just this story we're telling ourselves. We have certain things that might have happened to us in our past, and we're not denying them. They might have really happened. You might have gotten up in your 8th grade play on front of stage and you had one line and you forgot your line when it was your turn, but which literally happened to me. But what we have to realize is that it's okay and we could be moving forward and we could be taking those lessons and putting them to the future and learn from them. But if we start telling ourselves a story that that's who we are, it's going to be so difficult to get past that because we are labeling ourselves in a certain way that is not going to be beneficial towards us. So the first place we have to realize we have to be working on is just as much we're talking negatively to ourselves, we also have to speak positively to ourselves. And we have to focus on our strengths. Because for so many of us, we're so focused on what's going wrong that we end up beating ourselves up. And because we beat ourselves up, we stay down and we don't let ourselves get up. Because even if we have all this proof that we were good at something, that mindset, that label that we had since we were a kid is just going to repress it. We're not going to be able to break through. We have to understand that if we want to be taking things to the next level, we have to push ourselves out of that label and start working on labeling ourselves positively. Whether it's you yourself gave yourself the label or whether it was a friend or whether it was a parent or a teacher, you can change. You can start having that growth mindset and say, hey, you know what? People think I'm this type of person. I don't really want to be that type of person. I can be this type of person. And we can start reinforcing it by recognizing what's going on. One of the most powerful things that you can start to do is to really label yourself in a positive way by having a piece of paper that whenever you do something, you get yourself and you tell yourself that you did it. You write it down. So if people call you lazy and you don't want to be a lazy person anymore, start writing down all the times that you put yourself out there that you weren't lazy. And maybe in the beginning, you'll be once a week, but over time, we're going to start reinforcing ourselves and reminding ourselves, hey, you know what? I did this and I did this and I did that. And all of a sudden you're going to start to be able to get out of it. The second thing that people really have to stop is when it comes to thinking about others. You see, when it comes to self-doubt, there is so much going on in our lives that we end up thinking about other people. And because we're constantly comparing ourselves to other people, we end up hurting ourselves. We don't allow ourselves to move forward. And because we don't allow ourselves to move forward, because we're being trapped in by the fake reality of other people and what's going on in their lives, we can't get ourselves out of this cage. We have to understand that if we want to be doing bigger things, if we want to become somebody, we have to stop looking at other people. Because we look at them and we say, hey, the reason why they succeeded, and we end up making a story up for them because they did X, Y, and Z. But if you look at the people who really succeed, you can really see that they're really normal people. They're people who just worked hard. They put themselves out there. They failed and they got back, and they failed and they got back. And that is something that we need to understand. So if we can start to put ourselves in a position where we're not looking at anybody else, we're focusing on what it is that we can start to do right now, that's going to be the thing that's going to help us move forward. For so many people, they get so stuck and they can't get themselves out just because they are so focused on what everyone else is doing. And therefore, they don't give themselves a chance because they think, you know what? I can't do that. That person's so much different. They're so much gifted. They had so many more opportunities than I had. And it's not going to help serve us in the slightest. We have to be realistic with what's going on, but understand that I need to focus on what I can control. If I can focus on what's happening today, then I can start moving forward and stop getting stuck in my own personal life. And the third and final, and probably the most important in regards to both self-doubt and confidence, is understanding that, you know what, you can do it. For so many people, they get so stuck and they really don't believe inside that they can change. They don't think that they can be the one to become that person. But guess what? Anybody who's made it, anybody who's overcome the hurdles, recognize that, you know what? If I want to be doing something more, if I want to become better, I believe I can do it. And it's not to say that there are not going to be times where it looks down. It's not to say that there are going to be times in our lives where, you know what, things just seem bleak and not being able to move forward. And what we need to realize is that if we want to really make a change in our own personal lives, we have to believe in ourselves. We have to understand and know and truly believe that we can do it. It is on us to have that. Of course, having the support of other people will only help that, but it's not because of them that we're going to succeed. It's because we believe in ourselves. People who are successful understand that they truly believe that they are capable of doing so much more. And the more self-doubt we have, the less likely it is that we're going to be able to succeed. We need to figure out what it is that we can start to do to be able to take things to the next level. So which one should you be focusing on? And the real question, what is really holding you back? Is it the taking the action it's scared to be doing? You know what it is you want to be doing, and therefore you need to be working on your confidence, and in spite of the fear, take that action? Or are you more in your mind that you don't believe that you can be doing something? That I don't really think I can do X, Y, and Z. I can't own $1 million company. I can have an amazing relationship. My past is telling me that I can't do all these different things. And if that's the case, we need to work on our self-doubt. So ask yourself, what is going on in here? And by understanding that, that's going to be the thing that's going to be able to help you move forward and take the action that you're looking to take. And if you're somebody who's really struggling with your own confidence and you want to be able to take it to the next level, take a look at this next video where I talk about my honest advice for somebody who has low confidence.